You've been sitting in chairs your entire life, at work, at dinner, on the subway, in waiting rooms, and the whole time, without realizing it, you've been telling people exactly who you are. Not with your words, not with your clothes, with the way your body arranges itself the moment you stop thinking about it. Because here's what most people don't know. The positions we default to when we're relaxed, when we're nervous, when we think no one is watching, those aren't random. They're patterns, and patterns reveal character. Psychologists who study nonverbal behavior have spent decades mapping the connection between posture and personality. What they found might make you think twice the next time you settle into your favorite chair. Let's go through them one by one, and pay attention, because by the end of this, you'll never sit the same way again, and you'll never look at someone else sitting the same way either. 1. Legs crossed at the knee. This is one of the most common sitting positions in the world, and it says more than most people realize. People who habitually cross their legs at the knee tend to be expressive, creative, and deeply people-oriented. They like conversation. They like connection. They're often the ones who remember your birthday, who ask follow-up questions, who make you feel genuinely heard. But there's another side to this position. The crossed leg also creates a subtle barrier, a soft wall between you and the rest of the room. And that's intentional, even if it's unconscious. Many habitual leg crossers carry a quiet guardedness beneath their warmth. They're open, yes, but on their own terms. They decide how close you get and when. The smile is real, but the distance is too. Watch which leg crosses over which. Research in body language suggests that people tend to point their top knee toward whoever they feel most comfortable with in the room. It's a small signal, but in the right moment, it tells you everything. 2. Both feet flat on the floor. If someone sits with both feet planted firmly on the ground, back straight, hands resting on their thighs or the arms of the chair, take note. You're looking at someone who means business. This is the posture of the prepared, the deliberate, the person who thought about what they were going to say before they walked into the room. People who default to this position tend to be disciplined, reliable, and quietly confident. They don't fidget, they don't sprawl. They take up exactly the space they need and not an inch more. In conversation, they listen carefully, they respond thoughtfully, and they rarely say anything they don't mean. But here's the nuance. This posture can also signal tension. Someone sitting rigidly upright with both feet flat might not be confident. They might be controlling, managing how they're perceived, keeping themselves in check. The difference lies in the hands. Relaxed hands mean genuine composure. Gripped hands, white knuckles, fingers interlaced too tightly, that's someone working very hard to appear calm. And that gap between appearance and reality is worth paying attention to. 3. Legs stretched out, ankles crossed. This is the posture of someone who has decided, consciously or not, that they belong here. People who sit with their legs stretched forward and ankles loosely crossed tend to be self-assured, easygoing, and comfortable taking up space. They're not performing. They're not managing impressions. They've simply arrived, settled in, and made themselves at home. In social settings, these are often the people others gravitate toward without fully understanding why. There's a gravitational ease to them, a sense that nothing is urgent, nothing is threatening, everything is fine. But this posture also has a shadow side. That same ease can tip into indifference. The person who's always relaxed is sometimes the person who's never fully invested. Comfort and detachment can look identical from the outside. Pay attention to where their eyes go while their body stays loose. Engaged eyes with a relaxed body, that's genuine ease. Wandering eyes with a relaxed body, that's someone who has already left the conversation, even if they haven't stood up yet. 4. Sitting on the edge of the seat. If someone is perched at the very front of their chair, leaning slightly forward, weight on the balls of their feet, they are ready. Ready for what? That depends on the context. In an interview or a meeting, this posture signals enthusiasm and engagement. These are people who want to be here, who care about what's being said, who might jump in with a thought the moment there's an opening. But outside of formal settings, perching on the edge of a seat tells a different story. It's the body preparing to leave, to act, to respond to a threat that may or may not be real. People who habitually sit this way in relaxed environments are often running on a low, constant hum of anxiety. Their nervous system hasn't gotten the message that this is safe, that they can exhale, that they don't need to be ready to move. They're often high achievers, highly alert, highly attuned to the energy of a room. But underneath that attunement is a restlessness that rarely fully quiets. Even when everything is fine, some part of them is waiting for it not to be. 5. Legs wide apart. This one is direct. There's no subtle reading required. Sitting with legs spread wide is a dominance display. It communicates territorial ownership of space. It says, I am here, I am comfortable here, and I am not particularly concerned with whether that inconveniences you. In certain contexts, a casual setting among friends, a relaxed environment, it simply reads as confidence, uninhibited, unself-conscious. But in shared spaces, in professional settings, in situations where others are cramped while this person sprawls, it reveals something less flattering, a low sensitivity to how one's presence affects others, a prioritization of personal comfort over social awareness. People who default to this position in all contexts, regardless of setting, tend to have a strong need to establish status, often without realizing it. The body is doing what the ego wants. The telling detail is whether the posture shifts when the power dynamic shifts. A truly confident person can compress and expand depending on context. Someone using posture to compensate rarely adjusts, because adjusting would feel like losing.
6. Turned slightly away, body angled toward the exit. Most people think eye contact tells you everything about engagement, but the body never lies the way the face can. Someone can look you directly in the eye, while their torso, their knees, their feet are all quietly aimed at the door, and that silent aim is the truth. This position, angled away, exit-oriented, appears in people who are present in body but absent in intention. They're in the conversation because leaving would be awkward, not because they want to be there. In personal relationships, this posture is worth noticing. A partner who consistently angles away during conversations isn't just tired or distracted. They're communicating something about their investment, their comfort, their desire to be in this moment with you. But there's an important exception. Some people angle away not because they're disengaged, but because direct face-to-face contact feels overwhelming to them. For highly sensitive or introverted people, a slight turn isn't withdrawal, it's regulation. It's how they stay in the conversation without being flooded by it. Context, as always, is everything.
7. Constantly shifting, repositioning, unable to settle. And then there's the person who can't find a position and stay in it, crossing and uncrossing, leaning forward, then back, tucking one leg under, then switching, arms folded, then unfolded, then folded again. This is not simply restlessness. This is a body in negotiation with itself. People who can't settle into a sitting position are often processing something they haven't yet put into words, an unresolved thought, an unexpressed emotion, a discomfort with the situation, the person across from them, or themselves. Sometimes it's simple anxiety, the body burning off energy it has nowhere to send, but sometimes it's something more specific. Pay attention to when the shifting happens. If someone stills completely when a certain topic comes up, that stillness after movement is significant. The body found its answer. It just didn't share it out loud. Here's what all of this comes down to. People spend enormous energy managing their words, carefully choosing what to say, how to say it, when to say it, but the body operates on a different channel entirely, faster than thought, older than language, and it is always, always talking. You don't need to turn this into a system. You don't need to analyze every person you meet, but when something feels slightly off, when someone's words and presence don't quite match, look down. The answer is usually somewhere between their chair and the floor.